Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of the Deluxe Ninja Star Blade from Power Rangers Ninja Steel. So, again, you're probably aware from just general knowledge, or my morpher review, or anybody's morpher review, but we're in for a bit of an interesting case this year, because this is the changer, or the morpher, in the Japanese counterpart Ninninger, but instead we turned one of their sidearm weapons into the morpher, and this has just become their sort of standard default sidearm sword that the 5 of them have. So it's an interesting case for sure. But let's go ahead and get started to get this out of the way. Here is the Ninja Star. It comes with Bokensho. Comes with, which is blue. Same standard, just generic plastic. You have the early release for the sword and the morpher foam area. I mean, it's all going to be foam, but it's not designed or anything. It's just all basic. So if you're getting this later, it's probably fixed. But if you have the early release, it's like that. I figured I'd just show off its sound in the morpher at the top. So let's go ahead and do that.
Ninja Power Star. Activate.
And so you get that. Same noise as always for the second one. Okay, so yeah, nothing too exciting, pretty much what you'd expect, but at least you get a blue transformation noise. Here's the direct comparison to its counterpart from what the shurikens were, obviously different. It says the detachable shuriken, this little piece that fits on top of the Megazord, electronics, although mine are pretty much dead on all of them, so yeah, that's a thing. Okay, so now onto the sword itself. Honestly, look-wise, it's not really terrible. There are definitely some differences and some things that I think could have been better in some areas, but for the most part, look-wise, it's pretty solid for me. The buttons are going to be different, which we'll be taking a look at in a minute, because they're all pressable before, and then like in the show, you'll see the symbols on there. And then the like clear part where the LED comes through right here is a lot shorter, but you do see all the little symbols on there, which is nice. You got the flames there, but honestly, it's a pretty basic weapon detail-wise. There's not a whole lot that's missing or anything like that, so I think it's pretty good for that point. So let's go ahead and turn it on. The on-off switch is here. It was already on. Classic me. But yeah, so you'll get the activation noises and the sounds there. And then when you press this button, it actually extends out, and then press it again. So you basically get 4 presses, and with each one it lights up farther, so. But honestly, this is the coolest part, the fact that it retracts and extends, and then that first noise definitely goes along with it. It definitely makes it feel like a pretty solid size, which I think is pretty cool, and definitely a one-up it has over the Japanese version. In general, it's roughly, you'll see in a minute, but it's roughly around the same, give or take-ish feel as the Ichibantou, but when you extend it, it's actually really cool. Like, it feels like a good size. For me, being an adult holding it, it feels like a solid size, like I could be holding it from the show. And for kids, it's probably even better. So that's something good that I appreciate that they did here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the sounds with the shuriken on there. So when you get that, it plays a noise, which is definitely that familiar waiting type noise. And it just resolves it on its own, which kind of throws me off. I'm like on autopilot wanting to resolve a waiting noise from various Toku toys. So yeah, but then you get different sounds when this is plugged in. And that's pretty much it. You can spin it, but it's not going to make any sounds or change the sounds. And you can't just be like, flick it and spin it. I mean, I guess you can, but holy crap, it's lame. So yeah, that's honestly one of the bigger deals for me in terms of what this does. Before we get into the direct comparison, its last little feature is this little launcher on the back, which is meant to have a little star on it, and then shkaboof, and you get seconds of fun. But I'll have to say that is kind of neatish, especially for kids, and I'll give them credit for that because it's a neat added feature that really doesn't detract from anything in my opinion. Like, even if they had fixed the issues I have with this in terms of things I think should be there, I still am fine with them having this on there as an added feature to what they're going for with the throwing gimmick, and it doesn't really impact anything in a huge way. Okay, so now for the comparison. Like I said, the Ichibantou is the changer. So here it is. I just want to show the difference here. The shurikens go in. They are obviously quite different, a lot bulkier. But the main thing is the spinning. And the reason I bring it up is it's not even about the electronics. I think the spinnings is kind of a huge thing. Not even just for like an accuracy standpoint, but you know, you get comments all the time, be like, well, you're not a kid, this isn't for you, but don't forget, I was a kid, and I remember, you know, seeing things in the show. Hell, even now, when I see things in shows that have merchandise, I'm like, oh, I'm excited for that, I want to go pick up the figure, or go pick up this morpher. And so, kids are going to be seeing this all the time in the show, at least like 3 to 5 times an episode. They're near constantly doing this, and they're going to be like, oh man, that's a cool sword, can I go get it? Can't wait to play with it. And you can't do it. Like, I want to know, like, how much money they saved by not doing that. I didn't expect the full-on sounds thing here, but I at least expected them to keep the spinning for the sword. I got a lot of comments about that on the morpher, which I can see that, but it didn't really spin in the way it works in the show. But this is another example, kind of like the batteries in the Titanicharge Megazord. It's something kids are going to see, and it's a good selling point in the show of they're going to see something that looks cool, and they're going to want to be their favorite ranger and do this, but they're not going to be able to do it. But look-wise, it's really weird because this is definitely longer in a way, but they're like almost roughly the same size in terms of, if you line up like right here, the blade on this is longer even before the extension, but the handle on this is longer for sure. So it's like almost roughly the same size, but this one's got a longer blade and a shorter handle. The difference here also being they have this clear plastic over the flames, which isn't a huge deal. It's not like a major feature left out. And then obviously up here, these buttons are actually functional for transformation and attack functions. And I didn't really expect that. It would have been cool if this was a more feature-rich sword, but at the very least, it would have been nice to have the symbols on there. And I kind of like how the clear part with all the symbols extends all the way up the blade, but given that they made the blade longer, it's a little bit more difficult to do. But yeah, that's the main aesthetic difference, and then the back here is more silver here than black, or I guess gray is more like it. And this one does not extend, so that's a thing. So I think in terms of making it feel a little bit cooler and more like just a longer sword, I think that they win for that. But yeah, so overall, this thing's kind of a mixed bag. I really like it look-wise with the longer blade, but I think the Ninja Stars are what's holding it back. It would have been cool to have it almost be a second morpher with some sounds in it, but I wasn't expecting that at all. My honest main drawback of this is the way the Ninja Stars work, and I think the spinning should have been a part of it, given that it's going to be such a big part of the show. But yeah, overall, it's just very mixed for me. But so yeah, that's about it. Until next time, make sure you have the Crazy Podcast at writersrangersrambles.com, and of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.